Good morning, all of you. Now, today we will start with a new chapter in history, Independent India. I think in your books it is page number B44. Check, is it B44? And in the old book it is 110. In the new one it is B44.
Yes, ma'am, it's B44.
Okay. All right. So, in this chapter, we'll study about the independent India, the problems that we faced in the independent India. Now, if you remember the last chapter that we did in history, the national movement, and when we started the chapter, we studied about the condition of the Indians under the British rule, that how all sections of society, the people, they were unhappy with the way the Britishers were ruling, the way they were exploiting the people and all. And we studied about the arms act, the vernacular press act and all that. And then we saw that the people, they thought that now the time was ready for political associations and all India political associations, because there were some certain political associations. Now, why they wanted these political associations? So that they can keep their demands in front of the government through these associations. All right, so they had some regional associations, but then the demand was felt, the need was felt that they should have an all India association. And with that in mind, with that view in mind, the All Indian National Congress, it was Indian National Congress, it was established in 1885, and A.O. Hume was the one who established it, along with some major important Indian leaders. And then we studied about the moderates and the extremists. What were the demands of the moderates? That the moderates, they have complete faith in the British rule, and they simply wanted certain concessions, like they were not looking for Swaraj. But when the extremists came, they thought that the moderates, they were not able to achieve much. And now the goal of the extremists was Swaraj. They did not wanted anything less than complete Swaraj. And then as we progress with the chapter, we saw the partition of Bengal, and then we saw Mahatma Gandhi emerging on the scene, coming to India in 1915. And then we had a look at his three early campaigns, that how he was successful in all his three early campaigns. Then we went on, and we had a look at the Rowlatt Act. The Rowlatt Act, it allowed, it gave the government the permission to arrest anyone without a trial and imprison anyone without arrest anyone without a warrant and imprison them without a trial for a period of 2 years. So we saw that the people, they revolted against it, and the Britishers, they came down heavy with repression. Then we had a look at the Jallianwala Bagh massacre on 13th April 1919, in which so many innocent people, they got killed, so many were wounded. And then we had a look at the Khilafat movement, the non-cooperation movement, and how the non-cooperation movement, it was called off because of the violent attack at Chauri Chaura. Then we also had a look at the this beginning of the civil disobedience movement with the Dandi March, and how people participated in the civil disobedience movement. We had a look at that. Then we also saw that how Britishers, they suppressed the people. Then we had a look at the Quit India Act, which was started on 8th August 1942. And we had a look that before the Congress, they could start the program, all the important Congress leaders, they were put in prison. But this time the people were unstoppable, and because of Gandhiji's slogan of do or die, karo ya maro, so people, like they were now, they did not wanted to settle for anything less than complete independence. And we saw all that. Then we had a look at some of the popular leaders during this national struggle. And finally we had a look at independence. The last topic was towards independence and partition, and we saw that the Congress leaders, they failed to mobilize the Muslim masses, and as a result, the rift between the Muslims and the Hindus, it increased so much that the negotiations with the Congress and the Muslim League failed in the cabinet mission. And finally, the partition was the only solution that was left. And so we saw that in the communal riots that broke off during the partition, so many people, they lost their lives. And so people who were like friends throughout, now they were enemies. They were after their own neighbor's life. And we saw that so many people, they lost their lives, and they got orphaned. So many people died of disease and starvation. So many people were displaced. And though we got independence, but it was marred by the grief and sorrow of India being partitioned and so many people losing their lives. And so that is what we saw in we had a look in the last chapter. And now in this particular chapter today we'll have a look at independent India. And so let's begin with the chapter. I'm sorry, there are network issues, we cannot do much about it, but I'll send you the recording, and when you go through the recording, in that the voice will not lag, so you'll be able to hear and understand everything if you miss anything in this live class. Okay, so India became independent on the midnight of 15th August 1947, and Pakistan was born a day earlier, that is on 14th August. And now uh, the newly both the newly formed governments, now they were not equipped to deal with so many migrants, because during the partition so many lakhs of people, they crossed borders, they moved from one side of the border to other. And then there was so much violence and killing of people on both sides of the border. And the new governments which were formed, they were not equipped, they did not know how to deal with this problem. And the partition of India, it left both India and Pakistan devastated. And the this whole process of partition, so many people were dead in this partition, and thousands were killed, so many people had to leave their homes, means for generations where they were living, now they had to leave and they had to go somewhere else. Women, children, old people, all had to bear this brunt of partition, or the consequences of the partition. And 15 million refugees poured across the borders. And so 15 million refugees, they moved across borders to places which were entirely new for them, like they already had been living in some other parts for so many years, and now they had to go somewhere else. So many people, so now they were refugees, like they did not have their homes, they did not have a job, and so like they were like refugees to in another country. And not only was the country of India divided, but even the provinces of Punjab and Bengal, they were also divided. And these divisions, they caused so many riots among so many riots. And in these riots, so many Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs, they all lost their lives. And now the problem was that the displaced people were there, they had to be given homes to live, they had to be given jobs also. And at the same time, there was the problem that when India got independent and it was divided into India and Pakistan, there were so many princely states under the British rule, which were ruled by a Nawab or a king. Now they were left and they had not merged at that time with any, and they were like given the option that they could join either India or Pakistan. So now this merger of the princely states was left, which was a huge task, and these princely states have to be like persuaded to join India. And now in 1947, India's population was almost 345 million. And the social condition of the country, it was such that there were divisions between the high caste Hindus and the low caste Hindus. And then there were also divisions between people who followed different religions. So there were so many religions being followed, and there were divisions among the people belonging to different religions. And then people, they live in such a huge country, they lived in different regions, spoke different languages, and followed different religions, and they had different cultures and traditions and food habits and dresses and all that. And now the question was that how all these people could stay together unitedly and peacefully. And now this problem of unity was added to the problem of development. Now the problem of development was already there. And because at the time of independence, a huge majority of Indians, they were living in the villages, and they depended on agriculture, and at that time they depended solely on monsoon for their survival. And so if monsoon failed, if monsoon was late, then their lives were troubled, and they were affected really badly. And not only because of the monsoons, the life of the people who were involved in agriculture had suffered, but even people who were not working, who were not involved in agricultural work, like in the rural section we are talking about, like the carpenters, weavers, and other people. Now they were also affected. Why? Because they were providing their services to this rural population only. And when the main rural population, those who are involved in agriculture, now they were not getting money, so how will they pay these people? So that means that the condition of the people who were living in villages, rural areas, that was very bad. And in the cities also, the workers who were working in factories and mills, they were living in slums. And the condition of slums, you know neither they have proper housing facilities nor the proper disposal of garbage, and like they do not have proper access to health, and neither to education and all that. And so the cities, people, those who were the workers, those who were working factories and mills, they were living such horrible lives. And because so many people, they moved to cities from villages to find work in these factories and mills. And so now they did not have proper houses, and so they had to live in slums. Slums are substandard houses, all right, substandard living houses. Okay. And now the problem with the newly created nation was that they had to lift up the masses, all right, provide development to them and lift them out of poverty. And now this could not be done. And this could not be done without a promotion of agriculture and job creating industries. So now the problem was that they have to promote, develop agriculture also, and establish industries also, so that jobs can be provided to the people, for the people, and then there is development of the country also. Now this unity and development, it had to go hand in hand. You cannot let go one thing at the cost of other, because uh, there were already uh, divisions between the people. And if those divisions which were already between the people on the basis of caste, on the basis of religion, if they were not healed, that was also the condition. Not only you have to provide them development, but unity also was a problem, because these the divisions between the sections of people, if they were not healed, then what happened. If there was anything against their wishes, then there'll be violent conflicts. And so high caste people fighting with low caste Hindus, with Muslims, and so on. So that would happen. And so that was a problem. And at the same time, now this unity and prosperity, you know it it had to reach the masses, not only people who were living in cities. Now this unity and this development, it had to, this prosperity, they had to reach the masses, people who were living in, the bulk of the people, their population, they were living in villages. Now it had to lead to them also. Why? Because if did not happen, then there would be fresh divisions. Fresh divisions means on the basis of rich and poor, developed regions of the country and underdeveloped regions of the country, regions that were more prosperous and regions which lagged behind. So if unity and prosperity did not go hand in hand, then there would be further divisions in the country. Okay. Now what happened after partition? Now there was so much communal violence. There was so much communal violence. Communal violence means violence on the basis of religion. And they killed an estimated 1 million Hindus, Muslims 6. And the cities of Calcutta, Delhi, and Lahore, they were very badly affected because of all this partition and all these riots. Basically the riots were very strong in these cities. And these violence during partition and after partition, it was stopped by September. Now this was mainly due to the efforts of Gandhiji. And why? Because he said that he will fast till death if the people, they did not calm down and they did not start to live peacefully. And so he will continue with his fast. And though there was a threat to his life, but still Gandhiji, he wanted peace and harmony in the country. So he started this fast to death, urging the people to live peacefully with one another. And now when Mahatma Gandhiji, he was assassinated on 30th January 1948. Now it was a huge setback to the country, because the country had just gotten independence, and from being slaves, now they were being independent citizens. But the country, the condition of the economic condition of the country was very bad. The social condition, there were so many divisions in the country, and so that was the condition. And that condition, a man who brought the country from slavery to freedom, now he was being assassinated. And so he was murdered by Nathuram Godse. And why he said that he had killed him? Because he thought that Mahatma Gandhi was responsible for the partition of India. And he thought that Mahatma Gandhi, he tried to appease, means please the Muslims through his ways, and that is why he had killed him. And the evening when he was killed, there was, means the nation, it was stunned when Jawaharlal Nehru, he gave his speech on the All India Radio, and he said that friends and comrades, means people, people who live together and friends. And he said that the light, it has gone out of our life. The light in the form of Gandhi ji, it has gone out of our lives, and now there is darkness everywhere, because our beloved leader, the father of the nation, is no more with us. Okay, so for today we'll end here. Have you understood what we have done till now? Is there anything that you have not understood?
No,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
ma'am, I want to ask something.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, what is the meaning of slaughter?
Beta, mass killing of people.
And ma'am, what is the meaning of just a second, catastrophic riots?
Means catastrophic, you can say, having very very bad effect. All right, the riots
Okay.
that were
And
created.
ma'am, persuaded?
Persuaded, you try to persuade, convince people.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so